Here's something most people with type 2 diabetes get wrong every single morning. They obsess over breakfast. The eggs, the toast, the oatmeal, but completely ignore the liquid sitting right next to their plate. And that drink? It might be doing more damage to their blood sugar than the meal itself. A single can of soda packs close to 40 grams of sugar. That's almost 10 teaspoons hitting your bloodstream before you've even left the house. But here's what's interesting. Some morning drinks can actually lower your blood sugar response by 20 to 35% when paired with a meal. Today, we're breaking down the 5 best and 5 worst morning drinks for type 2 diabetes, backed by actual clinical research, not internet rumors. And I'll be honest, number 2 on the worst list is one most people think is healthy. Let's get into it. The 5 best morning drinks. Number 5, water with lemon. Let's start with the simplest one. A glass of water with fresh lemon juice squeezed in. Researchers at the University of Paris-Saclay ran a randomized crossover trial where participants ate white bread with either plain water, black tea, or lemon juice. The results were striking. Lemon juice lowered the peak blood glucose response by roughly 30% compared to water. And it didn't just lower the spike, it delayed the peak by over 35 minutes. Instead of blood sugar shooting up around the 40-minute mark, it crested closer to 80 minutes. That's a completely different curve. The mechanism is surprisingly straightforward. The citric acid in lemon juice inhibits salivary amylase, the enzyme in your mouth that starts breaking starch into sugar. So before your food even hits the stomach, lemon is already slowing down the process. It's essentially putting a speed bump in front of carbohydrate digestion. Now, one important caveat. Lemon juice is acidic, and over time it can erode tooth enamel. Drink it through a straw, rinse your mouth with plain water afterward, and wait at least 30 minutes before brushing. That gap gives your saliva time to neutralize the acid. Number 4, black coffee. No sugar, no cream. Before you celebrate, I said black, not a caramel latte, not a mocha with whipped cream. Black. Coffee is one of the most studied beverages on the planet when it comes to diabetes. A major meta-analysis published in Diabetologia found that each additional cup of coffee per day was associated with a 6 to 9% reduction in type 2 diabetes risk. People who drank 3 to 4 cups daily had a 20 to 25% lower risk compared to non-drinkers. And here's what's fascinating. This benefit shows up in both caffeinated and decaffeinated coffee. That tells researchers it's not the caffeine doing the heavy lifting. It's the other compounds, particularly chlorogenic acid, a polyphenol that appears to inhibit intestinal glucose absorption and improve insulin sensitivity. Coffee also contains magnesium, which plays a role in how your body processes insulin. A single cup of black coffee has essentially 0 calories, 0 carbs, and 0 sugar. It's one of the few beverages that actively supports metabolic health instead of working against it. The catch? Caffeine can cause temporary blood sugar spikes in some individuals, especially if you're sensitive to it. So monitor your numbers. And obviously, the moment you dump sugar or flavored syrup into your cup, you've turned a beneficial drink into a dessert. Number 3, chia seed water. This one flies under the radar, but it deserves attention. When you soak chia seeds in water, the soluble fiber absorbs liquid and forms a gel-like consistency. That gel acts as a physical barrier in your digestive system, slowing down the rate at which sugar enters your bloodstream. For someone with type 2 diabetes, that means a more gradual rise after meals instead of a sharp spike. Chia seeds are also rich in magnesium, which, as we just discussed with coffee, supports insulin function, and they're a good source of omega-3 fatty acids, which help reduce inflammation. Chronic inflammation is one of the underlying drivers of insulin resistance, so anything that calms that process is working in your favor. The practical approach. Soak 1 to 2 tablespoons of chia seeds in a glass of water for about 10 to 15 minutes before drinking. It's tasteless enough to add lemon or a splash of apple cider vinegar if you want to combine benefits. And because the gel promotes a feeling of fullness, it can also help with portion control later in the day, a meaningful advantage if weight management is part of your diabetes strategy. Number 2, apple cider vinegar water. Now, I know this one has a reputation for being overhyped, but the research here is actually solid. A 2025 meta-analysis published in Frontiers in Nutrition reviewed controlled clinical trials on apple cider vinegar and type 2 diabetes. The results showed that ACV significantly reduced fasting blood sugar by an average of about 22 milligrams per deciliter, and also lowered HbA1c, which is your long-term blood sugar marker. The analysis found a dose-dependent relationship. Each additional 1 milliliter per day of ACV was associated with roughly a 1.25 milligrams per deciliter reduction in fasting blood sugar. The active ingredient is acetic acid. It appears to interfere with the enzymes that break down starches, slowing the release and absorption of glucose into the bloodstream. Think of it as doing something similar to what lemon juice does, but through a slightly different pathway. The standard recommendation is 1 to 2 tablespoons diluted in a large glass of water. Do not drink it straight. Undiluted vinegar can damage your esophagus and your tooth enamel. Use a straw. Rinse your mouth afterward. And like anything with strong acidity, wait before brushing your teeth. One more thing. If you're on medication that lowers blood sugar, like insulin or sulfonylureas, adding ACV could potentially push your levels too low. Talk to your doctor before making it part of your routine. Number 1. Green tea. Green tea earns the top spot not because of one benefit, but because of how many it offers simultaneously. The key compounds are catechins, a group of antioxidants, with EGCG being the most potent. A meta-analysis of 22 randomized controlled trials involving over 1,500 participants found that green tea catechins significantly lowered fasting blood glucose. EGCG appears to work through multiple pathways. It can inhibit starch-digesting enzymes, influence glucose transport in the intestines, and may even support insulin sensitivity. A large epidemiological study out of Japan found that participants who consumed 6 or more cups of green tea daily had a 33% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes compared to those who drank less than 1 cup per week. And that association held regardless of age, weight, physical activity, or overall diet. Beyond blood sugar, green tea contains L-theanine, an amino acid that promotes calm focus without the jitteriness of coffee. Managing diabetes is a daily mental task, tracking meals, monitoring glucose, timing medications, so a beverage that sharpens your mind while stabilizing your blood sugar is a genuine advantage. Stick to 1 to 3 cups in the morning. Choose quality loose leaf or whole leaf tea bags when possible. They tend to deliver more catechins than the dust-grade stuff in cheap tea bags. And keep it unsweetened. The moment you add sugar or honey, you've negated the entire point. The 5 worst morning drinks. Now let's flip the script. These are the drinks that can sabotage your blood sugar before your day even starts. Worst number 5, sweetened coffee drinks. That vanilla latte from your favorite chain? It can contain 30 to 50 grams of sugar per serving. Some specialty coffee drinks have more sugar than a can of soda. You just turned one of the best drinks on this list into one of the worst. If you need flavor, try cinnamon or a small amount of unsweetened almond milk. But syrup, whipped cream, and flavored creamers are off the table. Worst number 4, fruit juice. Yes, even 100% juice. This is the one that surprises people. Orange juice feels healthy. It comes from fruit. It has vitamin C. But here's the reality. An 8-ounce glass of orange juice contains about 21 grams of sugar, and it hits your bloodstream fast because the fiber has been stripped away during juicing. When you eat a whole orange, the fiber slows digestion and moderates the sugar release. When you drink the juice, that buffer is gone. Your body gets a flood of fructose with nothing to slow it down. The American Diabetes Association recommends that if you do drink juice, limit it to 4 ounces, about half a cup. But honestly, for most people with type 2 diabetes, whole fruit is the better choice. Save juice for treating hypoglycemia, where that fast sugar hit is actually useful. Worst number 3, regular soda. This one shouldn't be controversial, but it still needs to be said. A 12-ounce can of regular soda contains approximately 39 grams of sugar. That's almost 10 teaspoons. It has 0 nutritional value, no fiber, no vitamins, no minerals, just liquid sugar. Research published in Nature Medicine estimated that in 2020 alone, 2.2 million new type 2 diabetes cases worldwide were attributable to sugar-sweetened beverages. That's not a small number. That's a global health crisis linked to what people pour into a glass. Worst number 2, energy drinks. Energy drinks combine 2 things that are bad news for blood sugar: high sugar content and high caffeine. A typical energy drink can contain anywhere from 20 to 60 grams of sugar per can. But even beyond the sugar, research shows that the caffeine in energy drinks can reduce insulin sensitivity, making it harder for your body to regulate glucose. Studies have found that energy drink consumption can spike blood sugar by an average of 20 to 30%. They also cause dehydration because caffeine is a diuretic, and dehydration itself concentrates glucose in the blood, making levels even harder to control. Worst number 1, sweetened tea and flavored drinks. Sweet tea, flavored iced teas, lemonade, fruit punches, these drinks hide enormous amounts of sugar behind a harmless-sounding name. A bottled sweet tea can contain just as much sugar as a soda. Flavored waters and vitamin waters often carry 15 to 30 grams of added sugar per bottle. The rule is simple. If it tastes sweet and it came from a bottle, check the label. If there are added sugars, it's working against you. Stick to unsweetened versions and add your own flavor: lemon, cucumber, fresh mint, without the sugar. So here's the pattern. The best morning drinks for type 2 diabetes: green tea, apple cider vinegar water, chia seed water, black coffee, lemon water, all share two things: zero added sugar and active compounds that work with your body to moderate blood sugar. The worst drinks: soda, energy drinks, juice, sweetened coffee, flavored teas, all share the opposite: loads of sugar that overwhelm your system before you've even started your day. Your morning drink is the first metabolic decision you make every day. Make it count. And remember, none of these drinks replace medical treatment. They work alongside your medications, your diet, and your doctor's advice. Always consult with your healthcare provider before making changes to your routine, especially if you're on blood sugar-lowering medications. If this video helped you, share it with someone who needs it. Drop a comment telling us, what's the first drink you reach for every morning? And if you haven't already, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Stay healthy. I'll see you in the next one.